Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Voice by Matt podcast. I am Matt Bertho, your host, along with my trusty sidekick, Billy Bearden.
Hi. Hello.
Man, Billy.
Was that a bad start?
I mean,
it's been a while.
It has been a while.
I mean, it's been months.
It's been
since I've had a camera pointed at my face like this.
It's been pre New York trip for us.
Yeah,
my first New York trip.
Pre-Omicron. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
It's pre-Omicron.
Well,
We were still in the Delta days back then.
The Delta days.
Yep.
That's good. That's good, Billy. All right. First, thank you guys for listening to this show. I know it's been a while since Billy and I have been on the mic and on the video. We are going full blast in 2022 with Josiah and Bree, and Sydney's figuring out how she's going to help this process. But Bree is helping with organization of this endeavor of a podcast, and then Josiah's on his what is that called, a gimbal? Josiah's on the gimbal like we planned originally, and I'm very proud of him right now because this is what I wanted. I wanted him to move around. Oh, that's good. I like that. And so we can have more freedom, more like a movie. Watch Yoda, man. Watch Yoda. Watch him. But yeah, it's good to be back. We have a more streamlined process for production now that we're working on with our boy Sandy. So shout out to Sandy De Jesus from New York.
Oh.
Yep. 23-year-old genius boy that I met on this men's retreat that we're going to talk a little bit about today. I was telling Billy I was sad about his Packers that lost last night at Lambeau in the snow, and he said,
I was okay with it because I mean, they deserve it. They probably deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm just a little, not mad, but just disappointed with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
That's okay, though.
Yeah,
That's just me.
Aaron's got his own thing going on right now. But back to the show today. Today, the episode is going to be called Into the Darkness.
Sounds kind of intense. I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I mean, it is intense.
Okay.
But it's something that, I don't know, man. I think everybody in the journey of life, you kind of have to go through this moment. It's not for the faint of heart, for sure. And we're going to talk about kind of what's led me to this breakthrough. So August, as all of you know that listen to the podcast, I climbed a giant mountain, 29,029 feet. Part of that process was to hopefully help heal me in some of my trauma that I had with my dad passing away. It didn't work. The trauma was still there. And since August to about December 1st, I was in a very dark, depressing, sad place. I know my students felt it. I know Billy felt it. My wife felt it. My kids felt it. I just was not a very pleasant person to be around most of the time. The office generally that I sit in doing this podcast right now, most days was very empty. There was maybe a couple people that would be in here usually, but nobody really wanted to be around me very often or for a long period of time. And I know that. Looking back now, like it sucked. Like it really sucked. Luckily, Billy was there for a lot of students that, needed him when I was on this healing kind of hurtful situation. Going back, knowing now why I went through all this, when my dad passed away in June 2020, it just brought a lot of shame and guilt, a lot of pain from my past. My grandfather, he committed suicide when I was in high school, like sophomore, junior year. And I went to therapy for that, and it helped it a lot. But when my dad passed away, it brought all those feelings back. And I was very confused about how am I going to get over this. And in October, November, I tried other means to try to heal myself. That did not work. I'll just be honest, like I drank a little bit too much at the end of October, into November. I tried some CBD that did not serve me at all. So numbing the pain, essentially. And I don't think I realized how deep the emotional pain was and how much I stuffed it. Billy, did you notice like any of the things I'm talking about right now? Like,
yeah, it's hard not to notice with someone like you. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, I think
someone who is, well, you display emotions very publicly. I don't think you probably mean to. I mean, it's just how it is. It's just how you are. And so, yeah, I think I noticed, and I think other people probably did too, but yeah.
Like me going back from August, September, October, November, can you go back and think of like moments where, you know, you could tell like I was not in a good space?
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm trying to unpack here a little bit for everybody.
Like I don't know about like in class so much, but in private conversations, that's where I noticed it.
Well, like what? Like because it's me, because I don't recall those things.
Well, we would talk about things, and you would say things like, just privately to me, you'd say, I feel like I have no energy. I'm depressed. I have no direction. I think you even said once that you felt like you didn't know what your purpose was or something. So I definitely knew just because of those private conversations. Yeah.
Wow, I said I don't even know what my purpose is.
I mean, it was something like that. Yeah, that's kind of how I interpreted it, at least.
Jeez.
So you definitely seemed like you weren't your usual self.
Well, and I think I was trying so many alternative things that I was lost, man. I have a therapist that's my coach, Dean, and, talking to him every Sunday, it felt like we were making progress, and we were, but I don't know, like there were things inside of me that just did not want to let loose. And I honestly was afraid to talk to anybody about a lot of this because I didn't want them to take it. I didn't want them to feel what I feel. So December 1st, I made a podcast about it actually. December 1st, I felt a little bit better. And I didn't know why really, but things started to ease up a little bit emotionally for me. And then we went to New York. Yeah, New York
and that was stressful.
Yeah. New York was very stressful because Omicron was on the rampage, which, and if people listen to this in years going forward, Omicron is a COVID-19 variant that is a little milder, it seems, in the effect it has on people, but it's highly more transmittable to people. It just it's kind of like fleas just kind of jumping on people, and you're like, oh, I have fleas now. Like that's what it
feels like. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that fast. You haven't had Omicron. You don't know.
I haven't, fortunately. No, yeah. I mean,
Did you?
maybe someday.
Well, don't wish it.
I don't wish it.
Okay, good.
I do
me
not
or
wish.
anybody.
I do not wish Omicron on anyone.
So New York, I do this trip with my students and their families every year. This was the class of 2020 and 2021. Let's just say all the shows we scheduled to do or watch got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
I was with my mom, my son Max, my wife Andrea, Billy's mom.
Yeah, we brought our moms. It was really cool. It was fun. They had a good time.
And, the group, they loved it. They had a blast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad they did. Because for me, it was very stressful and it was very irritating, very frustrating for me. Because I didn't really feel very good on that trip either.
Yeah, but some cool things did happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some cool things did happen.
Like,
we got on national television.
You got on national television on, what was
Inside.
it? Inside Edition.
Yeah. That was a little weird.
That was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the way I want to be on national television. But after New York, we came back. We did our end of kind of school things. We had the Viking Voices Christmas party, which was really special and nice. And I got to spend some really quality time with my family, which was awesome. But there was still this you got a little more work to do, Matt. And New Year happened and nothing changed in my feelings, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have all these kids that are wanting me to cast Vikings on Broadway, which is the big show that we do every year. And I was like, I don't even know where to start, man. I don't feel like doing this right now. COVID numbers were going up.
Mm-hmm.
And so uncertainty started to hit everyone.
Yeah.
And then my buddy Neil Conlon posted up that he had a couple spots available on a men's retreat in upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
And this was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I remember I talked to Andrea about it that morning. And it was like a calling. I just knew I'm supposed to go on this trip. I need to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became really clear. I need to heal from grandpa committing suicide and my dad having a heart attack and my sense of unworthiness that I feel. And I didn't know how this was going to roll out, but I knew that Neil, with this group, was going to allow me some tools to help me get through this process because I felt very stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And the students that are in the room right now, Sydney and Josiah and Bree, and even Billy, everybody knew Bertha's not back. There's something still that's not quite right with him. And I knew it. And I knew it because I would go into meditation. I would see no visions. I would have no clarity. It was just like this constant, hamster in a hamster wheel every day, doing the same bull crap with no results. And I felt like there's a change in my life happening. And I didn't even know what the change was until after this last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to talk about that today. So Billy, being my best friend, I just kind of talked about, I just knew I'm supposed to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware, when I get in those moods, can you tell, when I'm supposed to go away?
Well, I mean,
because I've done it a couple times now in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're asking if I just sense it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I sense it in the sense that you talk about it, and you'll kind of start the conversation. You'll kind of tell me a little bit about it, and I can tell that I can just see in you that this is something that you're gonna do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can tell that like I don't know if I can like sense it like on some like cosmic, you know what I mean? Like I just sort of, but I can tell that like it's something that you need to do because of just I guess because I've just known you for so long now, and when you talk to me about it, I can tell like okay, this is something that he's set on doing, and he's got a reason to do it.
Yeah. I was just curious because, you know, in the future, it'd be good to have you go, hey, you need to go. I can feel it. Just get out.
I mean, if I ever do feel that, I'll let you know. Yeah.
Well, when I signed up for this trip, I used some Southwest points to get my flight booked. And I paid Neil the amount that he told me I needed to pay. And I had that money, and it just worked out. And then up to it, you know, we were told to kind of wean ourselves off of like loads of processed foods, energy drinks, even medication going into this process. And so I was kind of excited about that it was, I felt like they're preparing me for something that's going to change me, like a reset, right, in my routine, which I needed desperately.
Right.
I was very scared about this. I talked to Andrea the entire trip up on that Thursday morning, just talking her ear off about why I'm going and how cool the Bertho farm used to be, and just really good memories, right? And I'm going to fast forward through a lot of this, but I'm just going to give some takeaways that I got on this journey. One of the first guys I met, Neil. I met Neil first, and it looked like a castle. It was a tiny castle though, but it was a castle nonetheless. But I met Daryl. First. Daryl is like the sweetest black man in the entire universe. Giant dude, like 6'4", 270 pounds, something like that.
Yeah.
And we just kind of hit it off, and I knew, man, this guy's my bro. Like this is one of my new best friends.
Okay.
I could feel it.
Yeah.
So that night we kind of settled in. We had some good Mediterranean food. Hummus. Well, we didn't have hummus, but we had pita bread and some like chicken.
It's a good way to start the trip.
Yeah.
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 The experience. Yeah,
yeah man. So we sat around a table, like 8-9 dudes, all different ages, 23 to 50 something. And we just kind of checked in.
Wow, it's pretty young guys.
Yeah.
Too. Okay.
Yeah. And we realized we're all there for a reason. You know, there were no distractions. In fact, you know, like I put my phone down a lot just to be present like we are right now. And to give these people our time. So the next morning we woke up, we did some breath work. We met around the table. We talked about our intention and really why we're there. I shared my story. We did more breath work outside. Went into like a tent that had a really cool little fire in the middle. And we had this conversation, which is something I want to unpack, which is really cool stuff that I've learned. And I think this will be valuable for the people that listen to the podcast and people that want to do future retreats with Neil, because this is something that he really made me understand my journey, this part of the journey.
Okay, yeah.
Now, going into this journey, I knew I was going to face a darkness. And I also knew I was going to go inside a cave, a dark cave that I don't really want to go to. I talked about Luke Skywalker and Empire going into the cave and facing Darth Vader. I talked about Aragorn going to the Cave of the Dead to correct his family lineage. And it became really evident with this talk and this tent with Neil and the guys that okay, like I am on a specific part of this archetype journey that he just talked about. So the different archetypes are magician, which men, they'll joke around. They'll just joke around constantly. They don't ever want to have a real conversation. All right. They don't ever want to really talk about what's going on. They'll make a joke about it. They're like the jester, all right? Number 2 is the lover. And so the lover is like constantly looking for love. That sometimes turns into lust, that sometimes turns into, heartache. And it's just like constantly chasing love and, the lover. The 3rd type is warrior. And the warrior is constantly battling, constantly fighting, constantly competing. All right. And then there's the king, the sovereign king, who has been through all of that, who can now kind of ease into the gifts and the rewards and the sovereignty that he has earned. And then there's the elder, which is kind of the older gentleman that's kind of like, F this, I've done this before a million times. You guys are silly, like blah, blah, blah. And so it became real obvious to me. I know I say these out loud and everybody in the room is probably like, oh yeah, Bertho is stuck in warrior for sure. And it's true, and I think a lot of men, especially my age, 30 to 40 something, I think we do get stuck in certain archetypes.
Yeah.
You think about me this last year, man, I was warrior to the max, like 48 miles, 30-mile run, climb the equivalent of Mount Everest, 2 workouts a day, sometimes 3 workouts a day, right?
Yeah.
And it was all to prove something. I don't know what.
Okay.
Just like, look how badass I am.
Okay.
But it didn't do that. It was just like everything that I finished, Billy, it was like, okay, I'm done with that. Now what? So when he said that, I started reflecting. I reflected that I'm at the end of my warrior journey. So what does that mean? Hey, I'm stepping into the king journey. But it's like I'm like in the infant stages of that right now.
Okay.
So we did a ceremony Thursday night where we just kind of centered down and got to experience our bodies in a more deep way. We got to really be present with our bodies and not in our heads so much. It made me very uncomfortable. But I liked that everybody was with me in this journey. Like, it was very peaceful and calming to know, like, everybody in this circle has my back.
Good.
Friday night, we did another little ceremony, same thing. I talked to one of my boys, Johnny, for a long time. He talked to me about his relationships, and it was much like talking to you guys, like I helped him out a lot. I know that night. Me, I was like, I want to go to bed. I want to go to bed. I want to go to bed. I mean, this dude talked to me, and I love him, but he talked to me for like an hour and a half, it seemed. And then Saturday was the main ceremonies, and I got to meet Stuart and Liz and Mark, and we had to change houses because the water main broke at the house we were at because it was really cold.
Oh.
Yep.
Yikes.
So we changed houses. And I prepared for the first ceremony. And in that ceremony, the warrior definitely appeared, and I handled it like a champ. After that, I got to eat some real good soup and some bread. And I FaceTimed Andrea and talked to her and the kids. And it was really, really peaceful. And I saw Andrea's face different for the first time. And that kind of changed the whole weekend. Like, I noticed that I was looking at people differently than I did before. So I knew that the process of me getting through my trauma was happening.
Okay.
And I knew that the next step, the next ceremony that would last from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning, I was ready. I was ready to face the darkness. And so, I started this journey. I can tell you it was very painful for me.
Yeah.
I was distracted a lot with my surroundings. There were people snoring, people laughing, and I was just in pain, just laying there in a meditative state. But I can tell you that I literally got rid of the trauma. Like I got it out of me. And the next day, I went to sleep for like 2 or 3 hours after that ceremony. And I woke up and it was like I was brand new. I said, am I depressed? No. Am I sad? No. Grandpa, I'm good. Dad, I'm good. Okay. Well, this is new. This is a new feeling. And I got up. I got some coffee. I ate this little like biscuit kind of mozzarella basil thing that I got at they call it the Angry Vegan, the store. But I ate that, got in the Uber and started my way to the airport. And it was really interesting in the airport. Everybody was super nice to me, like ultra nice. To the point I went to this restaurant, had this really awesome flatbread pepperoni pizza thing, and they gave me a free salad. Everybody was so pleasant to me. The attendants were pleasant to me on the airline. And it was just.
Do you think they were more pleasant than usual, or you were just
more pleasant than usual?
You were more aware of their pleasantness.
Because the first time I went on the airplane, they were rude to me.
Okay.
So rude.
Yeah.
But everybody, like even strangers I didn't even know, like they just were so nice.
Yeah.
I came back. Sydney, one of my amazing students, picked me up at 11 something at night. And I know that I know that she could tell my energy was way different. And I did lessons the following day on Monday. And dude, like it was incredible. Like my peace and my calm, the work that I did with students was so focused and deep. Because there's no block. There's no blockage.
Yeah.
Tuesday through today, I've felt the same way. I had a couple girls that were upset this week in school. They come in, they sit down, they're crying. I work with them for 5 minutes, help them out, and they're good. Where usually it would have taken me like 30 minutes or an hour to help them. Because I was constantly thinking about me and my pain and my stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's gone. Which is freaking weird, man.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that in class
amazing.
This week?
Oh, yeah. You seem different. You seem much more relaxed, I would say.
Is there any certain instance that you noticed that I just was like out of my mind, superhero mode? Like the Sovereign King showed up in that moment?
There were moments when, I'll put it like this, the warrior could have come out, but didn't.
Yeah.
So I guess you were sitting in your sovereignty.
Yeah, and I felt that in that moment. You know, and it's a different feeling, and I know for the room, it's a different feeling. Because I think everybody in the past was expecting me to, Hulk out, Wolverine claws come out.
It's definitely a different feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at now. I will be honest. I had one moment today where I got irritated with Max and Leo being so loud. I yelled, but I apologized immediately. But that awareness is just so fast now.
Yeah. That's good.
I know being a male, being a masculine male, I come off as a little intimidating probably to some people sometimes. And I know like I had a student yesterday in voice lessons tell me that females are not used to, in her family, people yelling. And then when people yell, it makes her cry, makes her feel very sad. And I was like, wow, that's a perspective that before this experience that I had facing the darkness, I never would have found that out about this person.
Okay.
Because I don't think I would have been open to it.
I see. Yeah.
So I've noticed too, because we talked a lot in this ceremony about masculine and feminine energy, and it's something I didn't really quite understand. I mean, but now I think I'm getting a better understanding of it. Like I know with like Bree and Sydney this whole week, you know, I hope that they felt like I really honor you, I love you, I care about you, and I know like your gifts are important. And I've done that for like all the females around me this week and the males, like to empower the males around me to, you know, show their heart, but also to be strong in showing their heart, you know. And, you know, my wife and I had a good conversation about, well, what about people that are homosexual? Like, how do you justify that? And I said, well, it makes sense. Like there are just some people that are more feminine that need to work on more masculinity. There are people that are more masculine and we need to work on more feminine. And we all have that balance that we're trying to figure out in our lives. You know, most of the time males are more masculine most of the time, and most of the time females are more feminine. But it doesn't mean like you can't have a male that has more feminine that balances that with masculine, and females that are more masculine that balance that with feminine. They need to coexist is what I've learned with this. Like,
okay.
And I'm still learning about it. I don't know everything about it, but these are some of the takeaways that I had with the archetypes, masculine versus feminine, that they need to coexist, that we need to honor that those gifts that these people have in our lives, and understand where it comes from. Right. It's like I don't know, like when I this whole week, when I would empower my students to really be themselves more, to show like Bree, show that love more, Bree, show that nurturing more. Sydney, stepped up her game big time as a leader this week and staked her claim and said, this is who I am. And so Sydney showed some masculinity this week, said, you know, I'm assertive. I'm doing this. All right. And so that's a big step for all of us, that to take a stand and this is who I am. For me, I hope that my gift is my heart. Like, but I need to show that all the time. Not any, I don't need to show like warrior mode. Like people know, you just know.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm learning from this. And it, you know, I got a lot more to unpack, but any questions or thoughts?
Yeah, it's pretty, sounds intense. It's a lot to consider. I just think it's interesting how, I don't know if you talked about this today, but how your trauma manifested as something physical. I guess you probably did, but it's like just sort of a physical ailment. Yeah. You said that you had to literally purge out of your body.
I had to purge, throw up my trauma. You know, and you know, I talked to Dean about that today, and he goes, "Man, you had a beautiful moment that you got to look at it, smell it,
okay,
like for real, like you got to feel the heat of that in that bucket." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean that's true. I never thought about that, but it is a gift seeing it excessed out of me, like
okay."
That's a gift. It's a good knowing thing. Like this did happen.
Right.
And I know like now,
it's not a part of you anymore.
No, it's not a part of me. And I can't even attach to it, which is really bizarre. Really bizarre. I mean, I couldn't even say my dad, Don Bertho. I can even say his name before without feeling ill.
Really?
Without feeling, that still sucks, right?
Yeah.
I don't even feel that anymore.
Yeah.
And even my grandpa, like him committing suicide, you know, anybody that commits suicide, anybody that we hear of committing suicide, it would always trigger me every time.
Yeah.
And, you know, because I know what these teenagers are going through. I know how hard it is. But now I don't have to feel it,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. And then the unworthiness is something that I'm worthy of this life. I'll share this.
Mm-hmm.
I was on my run before I went on this journey.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys know that have listened to the podcast, and Billy knows that Voiced by Matt is a gift that I've always had since I was a little boy. I help people find their voice, their inner and outer voice, and help them make that the same. Well, when I was 40, I yelled at God and the universe, I want my health back. I've learned through this experience and the people that are helping me, like Stuart and Neil, that that was a prayer that I said out loud.
Mm-hmm.
That was a prayer. Me, I didn't think of it as a prayer. I just thought, I'm saying this out loud. But it was an actual prayer.
Yeah.
Just like I want to coach more pros was an actual prayer.
Mm-hmm.
So this is crazy. I can't believe I'm literally putting this together on the air right now. Before I went on this journey to upstate New York, I was running.
Okay.
And don't get sad, everybody, but I was at the end of my rope 3 weeks ago. I was not feeling good about life. And I literally said on my run out loud to God, God, if I'm supposed to die, let me die now. If I'm supposed to live, let me live. And in this ceremony, from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. in the morning, the constant message that kept coming through, God, universe, spirit, mother, whatever, was this: you're not going to die. You're going to live. You must go through this.
I'm glad. Yeah. Good.
Because, I was worried about that. Like, because I think in our journey of life, it's the end of a stage, right? Like, this is the end of a stage. The end of the warrior stage, right?
Right. Okay.
You're going to have a final boss, man. And my final boss was eliminating the trauma from my life and my unworthiness. But what activated it was my voice. I was ready. And I let God know in the universe, I'm ready. But that was, man, even saying that out loud right now, like, that was some, I was like,
dark times.
I surrendered.
Oh, okay.
Completely
right.
to whatever God in the universe wanted. I'm going to live or I'm going to die right now. And it kept saying in the ceremony, you're living, you're going to live. You're living. So, we go through life in stages, in seasons. And this season that I've been in for a while now is completing. And it feels really good to step into the new season. And I'm excited.
I can tell. Yeah.
It was very painful. And I just want to encourage anybody that's listening that don't judge yourself so hard. Let yourself be. It was funny. I got in my car today to go home and prepare some food for the week, and Let It Be by the Beatles started playing after my coaching/therapy session with Dean today. I mean, you can't make that up, man. That's just Let It Be is the name of the game for us humans on this earth. Like, don't judge it. Be. And sometimes bad crap happens in your life that you're not in control of. and give yourself some forgiveness and some grace, and just be and sit in it.
Mm-hmm.
And tell people about your journey too. Use your voice. We're going to wrap this up. Billy, is there any final thoughts from you?
Oh, well, thanks for having the courage to share all that on your podcast and with all of us. And
thanks, man.
I think it's really neat, really cool that you did that. So I'm glad that you got the you're gonna live answer.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I know these students in the room probably are very thankful that I'm gonna live also.
Yeah,
and that I got that message. And my family, I told Andrea last night on our date about that,
mm-hmm.
and she was like, "Wow, I didn't even know." I was like, "Yeah, right. I hit it really well." So you never know who's hurting, guys.
Yep,
the strongest of the strong, man, can hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important that you show people kindness and love. So we'll probably talk more about this in the future, because I'm changing. For sure, I'm changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to thank you guys for listening to this podcast today. I love you so much. And give us a review. And you can check us out on YouTube if you want to watch the video that Josiah is putting together in social media. Give us a share. Bree's working on that right now. And thank you so much. Sydney, thank you for your presence today, being here. Josiah, Bree, grateful for all of you, big time. Billy, my best bud. Thank you for holding the fort when I was gone.
Absolutely, yeah.
But that's it. I love you guys, and we will talk to you guys next week. Peace.